Jimmy's Jam Box. Keep jamming. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jam Box. We're here. We're back at it again, and we're going to get on into it. But before we do, as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. With that being said, here's a quick word from our sponsor. The Oolong Passion Tea. A uniquely fruity blend of oolong, passion fruit, blood orange, lemongrass, and coconut. Delicately sweet and refreshing, with a creative quality to it. The Brothers Apothecary. Fine teas and remedies. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching again. Shout out The Brothers Apothecary. Make sure to click the link below and go get you some. With that being said, let's go ahead and get on into it. Here is today's guest.
Hey, what's happening? It's your boy Bobby Barrz. 2 R's, 1 Z. Don't get it twisted. How y'all doing?
Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. Why don't you tell us a little bit about where you're from, what you do, give us that like Tinder profile of your involvement with music.
Man, I'm a hip hop artist, and I also run a studio out here called Big Bet Creative House Studios. Originally from Seattle, Washington, but Pacific Northwest my whole life.
Oh yeah.
And based out of Vancouver. Been out in Vancouver for about 12 years now.
Oh yeah. Shout out Vancouver. That's where we're at too.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Definitely trying to make a name for myself and my brand out here. Music is something that I picked up about 5 years ago.
Okay.
So we're going on 5 years.
Okay.
And
that's when you first got started?
I would say, yeah, officially.
Oh yeah.
Like putting music out. And I originally created my studio just to hone in my own craft. Mm-hmm. That's a luxury we have nowadays. And doing that, and then, man, came up with the Big Bet Creative House. Mm-hmm. So, we do not only production, but we record. We also have a podcast as well. And then we have a whole shirt shop downstairs. So the whole house is just a creative hub.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
And trying to give local artists a chance. And, it's more of a little intimate setting. But it's definitely a tool that we use to, get our music out there and hone in our craft in every creative space that we're in.
Oh, yeah. All right. Now we're going to start a little bit earlier than that. We're going to go back to the beginning because I want to find out more about how you got into it. So when you first got started about 5 years ago, what inspired that? What was kind of the catalyst for getting into music to begin with?
Well, man, growing up, I was always freestyling and stuff and doing, just, hey, man, put on a beat, let's freestyle. And I was singing. Music was always kind of in me. Mm-hmm. But as far as getting my own studio and doing music, shout out my dog, D Nice, DNY Money Sign 3. He actually lives in my neighborhood. And I was walking my dog one day and, heard them playing some music, asked him if he rapped. Mm-hmm. And he had his own little home studio mm-hmm. upstairs. And prior to that, I always thought that, you had to go to some big professional studio to record something and, things like that. Also, prior to that, even if I had met him, I was always busy with work and was working rotating shifts, and there was no time for that anyways. Had a little bit of a career change, had more time on my hands, met my dog D Nice, and that inspired me to get my own studio, mm-hmm. which is where I ended up honing in my own craft basically and figuring out, how to really write songs and to record and really find my sound like that, So definitely got inspired by some friends, but was mainly making music with him over there. Then realized, I wanted to take it a bit further. Mm-hmm. So ended up doing that. And then, now we're here, Big Bet Studios. And I feel like I definitely made a name for myself in the city. Oh, yeah. And I think after what I've done and all the music I'm about to put out, they ain't gonna be able to mention hip hop out here without saying my name. That's for sure.
Gotcha. Hell yeah. Now, we're still sticking to the beginning here because I've got a few more foundation questions. These are the ones that we usually run through.
Okay.
Just to kind of get to know you a little bit better. And this first one, this is one we ask early. It's one we ask often, and it's definitely a crowd favorite. What was the first album you ever bought with your own money?
My first album. My little brother was more of a hip hop head than I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
But both of our favorite artists at that time was Ludacris.
Oh, yeah.
And so my first album that I actually purchased was Chicken and Beer.
Hell yeah.
And man, we ran the album into the dirt. And
that's a good first album.
Yeah, I wish I still had it too, but that was a lot of stuff like that we grew up on.
Oh yeah. And then what was the first live show that you ever went to? That was like one that you wanted to go to.
Man, I've been working since I was 19, so there wasn't a whole lot of time for luxuries like that. I didn't go to my first show until I was in my early 20s, maybe 23, 24. But it was Lil Wayne and Drake.
Oh, hell yeah.
In Ridgefield at the amphitheater.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I went and saw, Wiz Khalifa and Snoop Dogg, and Kevin Gates was there.
Damn.
So that was all in a couple year span.
I mean, those are two good shows to go to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and they was dope. Other than that, I think there might have been like one or two little local shows when I was, a teenager or just 21 maybe. But those are the first two I could think of that I really wanted to go to, that I bought tickets myself for,
Yeah. Hell yeah. I mean, like I said, those are two great shows to go to for sure.
It was dope, yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. Now let's go ahead and let's dive on into you as the present day artist.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to focus on you as the writer first, that you as the rap artist and such. And I want to look right at the beginning. When you want to get started on a track, when you're inspired, you're ready to make some music, what are your first steps?
Definitely listening to the beat or beats. So for example, say I'm going to make my own song instead of a feature or something, because I've been doing a lot of those lately.
Mm-hmm.
I would, go through some beats and, catch a vibe. And a lot of my music has to do with, real life, how I'm feeling. So I always say, if you live in life, you're never going to run out of content. You know what I mean? But definitely try to put myself in a mode or a scenario. I like to come up with a hook first, just to really bring a whole vibe, or I guess paint a scenario for it. Early on, I used to really think about what the music video would look like, so get the hook that would put you in a place, whether it would be the club, whether it would be a past emotion, a life circumstance, or, even in the car, at a basketball game, football game, whatever it is, things like that. And then from there, I would get the hook and then dial in the hook. I would usually record it, mix it down a little bit, leave the verses open, and I would listen to that until I came up with my verses. And I would really try to paint a picture, because the way I write is really specific to a mode. I try to put myself in that scenario all the way, because I want the listener also to feel like they there as well.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I do with that. When it comes to features, because I don't write specific verses that would that are so general that you can put on any song.
Yeah.
It might sound good on any song, but I don't be writing so general.
Yeah.
Generally, it'd just be pretty specific to the song and how I felt or where I was able to mentally take myself,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I appreciate the thought process behind that. That it doesn't feel overly meticulous. It feels intentional.
Yeah.
And that's a really cool approach to have in general. And then once you have a song finished? So you've written the whole song, you've gotten it down. How long does it take for you to feel comfortable performing?
Depends on the song. I mean, again, for example, say it's a song that's just me on it.
Mhm.
I'll go into the studio and, because I don't have to go pay for studio time and all that stuff,
Yeah.
and I do it myself. Like, I definitely rehearse it quite a bit, but I can take as many takes as I want, and
Yeah.
things like that, instead of having to just come into the studio ready. And I do come in the studio ready when it's at someone else's studio on their song type thing. But as far as performing it, so I host an open mic every Thursday.
Mhm.
This coming week will be week 50 in a row.
Hell yeah.
And so,
That's awesome. You're 2 weeks away from a whole year.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Hell
sir.
yeah.
We're gonna have a big thing for that. But prior to doing the open mic, I'd, like what most people do, rehearse either in the car or all day, just have it in the headphones. I did feel like there was a point to where rehearsing it too much could be an issue.
Yeah.
Right, get in your head, things like that. Because I'm a firm believer in practice how you play. Right. So if you practicing mumbling and whispering it, or just listening to it, like, instead of anticipating or being ready for the variables that you may not be ready for. So I would say nowadays what I do is I definitely run it a couple times each week at the day shift at my open mic. And I ain't got no shame in my game. I'll have my lyrics out, all that type of stuff. And so I feel comfortable enough to perform it without that, because the way I perform now is without my lyrics, no backings or anything like that. So I'll keep my hooks on there.
Yeah.
To keep the vibe and to also like maybe get a second to breathe. And then my verses I definitely run through is just me on there.
Oh, yeah.
Certain songs where I might be rapping real fast or doing whatever, I might have some ad libs or some very lower backing vocals, but majority of the time the verses are empty. They're just for me to feel.
I think there's a solid distinction between like having layers and having the main vocals when you're doing it. You know what I mean? And I think there's nothing wrong with having the additional stuff, but there's definitely something appreciated about not having the mains there the whole time.
And it really depends on a few factors, like who you are as an artist, your style, and then also like the type of show you at.
That's what I was going to say. I think the biggest part comes down to performance, because some people they want to have a visual experience as much as an audible experience, and until you have a group of people that can be moving while you're doing vocals, you got to be moving while you're doing vocals, and sometimes that can be tough to do two things at once for that respect, because it's all high energy and a lot of breath control.
Yeah. So there's been times like, so prior to starting my open mic show, I had performed quite a bit, but originally my intentions were just to be a recording artist. But then I realized how important the performance aspect of it is.
Yeah.
And obviously since then been selling a lot of merch and get my name out there and gotten a whole lot more fans than I would just hiding behind the microphone,
Yeah.
But I had quite a few like really successful performances, and people were starting to learn my songs. And then I did have a show that was a totally different vibe than I was ever used to, and I hadn't experienced too many different like variables, like equipment not working, mics going out,
oh man, it happens
in the speakers, tripping on a chord, things like that. But I dead ass had like a 8 Mile moment one time, and to where they may not have noticed it too much, but I did. So I performed as I would at all these other shows, but this show was definitely like an underground, like the whole room filled. And I went in there and I was, let my emotions get ahead of me. And it was something that I for sure knew what I was doing, had done it quite a few times successfully, and I just wasn't ready for that. So came back stronger, started my open mic. Well, first I was going to open mics, just to rehearse, or paying people for rehearsal time, things like that. I'm a firm believer in, it shows how much you care about something by how much you prepare for it, and those people who think, oh yeah, I recorded it, I know it, but just as much as you may know it, you may not know the curveballs that get thrown at you. So I say forever practice, because even songs today that I may not have performed in a while, like I'll still go rehearse them. Yeah. To where during my open mic, I'll walk around the crowd, do different things, like challenge myself to keep on cadence and say all the words, especially not having backing vocals and all that. So yeah, after that little 8 mile moment, I came back stronger. Since then, done quite a few performances. And like I said, we on week 50 coming up. I've curated a few shows from that open mic. So like it's called the day shift open mic. I done the night shift, which was curated from people just there. I had a showcase called the Northwest Best that we did at the Alberta Abbey. That was pretty huge back in June, I believe. Things like that. And man, I can't stand it when people act like they don't got to rehearse, and rehearsing is more than just in the mirror.
Yeah.
Whatever you got to do with what you got.
Yeah.
But get your ass on stage and get some time in the gym, really,
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Because you can practice a jump shot in the mirror. It's not the same as shooting it in the gym.
Exactly. Hell yeah. I really appreciate that insight.
Yeah.
All right. Now I want to swing the focus a little bit, and I want to talk about your sound. What is it you enjoy about your current sound at the moment?
I mean, I would say it's just all real, and it's me. I don't got to play a character, It's genuine. I think that what I really enjoy is that I'm able to, other people are able to relate to it, and really see it for what it is, instead of differentiate Bobby from Bobby Barrz. Like, it's all the same person, and I would say like just the way I'm still forever evolving my sound, right? And I do have a certain way that I approach music and like in the way I rap and deliver, things like that. But being able to like hear my music and have it sound audibly very good and pleasant, and I went like 12 songs in a row without cussing or nothing like that. And it's like, I want to make music that people could raise their kids on and get a whole wave of that. Like, man, my grandmama listened to this stuff,
Yeah.
to where like I won't be out there sounding super ignorant or ratchet, So I know everyone says, oh, I keep it real, but I'm living life and I'm saying it how it is.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I love that. Now, before we get into what is probably the densest question, I want to kind of pivot for a moment and talk about you as a producer. It sounds like that's a pretty big aspect of what you do. So let's highlight that a little bit. Let's get some technical questions out of the way. What do you produce on? Like what DAW do you use? What like gear do you use on? Or what are your main pieces of equipment and such?
So I'm mainly engineer. I do produce quite a bit as well, but my business partner, JC Banco, he's the in-house producer at Big Bet Studios. I executively produce a lot of music. I run Logic on a MacBook Pro. And, we talked about the mics and stuff we have. I got the Neumanns, or Neumanns is how you say it. Yeah, I mean, I produce on there as well, make beats as well. I wear a lot of hats. So originally, I think, I was always growing up beatboxing and kind of playing with turntables and stuff. I'm still going to pursue being a producer like later on, but I started the path of being a music artist first,
Okay.
and I'm gonna run this through. And since I've been getting more and more successful, and things have been more streamlined, I've been more efficient with making music. Been able to have fun with the production, and sell beats and things like that. I think where I really shine right now with the time and resources I have is executively producing music.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now, as the engineer, do you usually do you want people to show up prepared? Do you like to give input on what they're doing? Do you like check in with them ahead of time? What do you usually expect for artists coming into your space?
I think as an engineer, anyone would prefer people to come prepared.
Yeah.
Just so we're not wasting time at that same rate. It's their time that they paying for, But I love music and I want to see stuff get done. So I wouldn't say I run it like militant, but I'm like, hey man, let's get to work, And if they also need any type of help, like I offer myself as a resource, to help executively produce things if people want that. If not, we can just record. But my studio is more of an exclusive studio, so it's not just like anybody and everybody.
Yeah.
But we do get a lot of very, very talented artists in there. And sometimes it's, hey, let's just throw on some beats and, figure it out. But I do prefer to at least have something prepared, so that way we're actually like getting some work done, because to pay me to just sit there, while
Yeah, it's like you could, but this isn't benefiting anybody.
Yeah, and you don't even leave with a song,
Yeah. And I mean, as the person working with them, you also want something to come out of it.
Absolutely. Because I love music and I like to, feel accomplished and see other people accomplish things, I'm not into just winning myself. I like to see other people win as well. And, at that same point, some people come in, quote unquote, prepared and rush through things and they'll get it done right. So it's all about taking your time respectively, but also coming in prepared respectively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right. Now, this is the last question for kind of the you-focused ones, or at least the current focus. But like I said, this is definitely one of the densest questions that we have. But we talk a lot about the things that come from music, the actions, the reactions, the experiences and such. But what is it about the music that gives back to you when it's just you and music one-on-one?
I mean, it's definitely therapeutic. I'm able to get my thoughts, my feelings out, on the track. I'm able to express myself. I'm kind of a quiet cat and I don't really be talking to too many people openly, but I'm able to be open with my music. And like I said, if you live in life, you ain't never gonna run out of content. And so if there may be things I got to deal with or not, like being able to somewhat, in a way, document what I'm going through and being able to look back and see where I was at and how I've grown. So that's a big thing too, seeing like the growth. So it's like looking back to when I first started to now, how I've gotten better in all aspects, even in my life. And it'd be harder to just look back at that if it wasn't down on a track, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's pretty therapeutic. And I influence myself and I push myself, like a lot of my music's that, grind and go get it and work hard type stuff. And I'll be motivating myself, so it's very motivating seeing where I came from to now. And yeah.
Oh yeah. Like I said earlier, I really appreciate how much attention you give your music.
Yeah.
Like it feels like you're very methodical. It feels like you're very analytical and observant of your own music, but in a lot of ways, not just like it has to be this or it has to be like you feel like you have a lot of emphasis on the focus of the subject, but also on the receiving end. And that's just, I think that's not only a good view to have as an artist, but also a good view to have for somebody who works with other people for their music, because that just feels very objective. It feels very like, you feel very intentional, I think is the word I'm trying to find here.
Yeah.
With how you approach your music. And that shows for sure.
Yeah, making music just to make music is, not necessarily how I do it.
Yeah.
It's pretty intentional.
Oh, yeah. All right, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to get into some hypothetical questions. And these ones, the questions are made up and the answers are too, so feel free to have fun with it. But for this first one, we're going to actually make this a 2-answer question for you.
Okay.
Because usually I say if you could work with any one person, the only requirement is they have to be alive. But for you, we're going to separate it and have you answer for as the artist and as the engineer.
Okay.
So we'll have those be 2 separate answers.
So it's almost the same. It would be the same answer, but I'll give you 2. Definitely want to work with J. Cole.
Hell yeah.
For sure. I feel like my lyrical ability and his would make a really great song, for sure. I'd love to engineer him and executively produce a song as well. There's quite a few artists out there that I would love to work with, like Dom Kennedy,
Yeah.
So like I'm on some West Coast shit too. Man, Cube, I know you said 2-part, but there's just so many.
Nah, I get it.
As far as engineering, would definitely love to executively produce some things or musically produce some things for them. But yeah, getting on the track, I think with Cole, I know it might be a stereotypical answer, but
no, I mean,
I feel like I could hold my own with him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah. And then subsequently, who's a local artist that you're aware of that you haven't gotten to connect with yet, but you would like to?
Man, I've connected with a lot of local artists out here. As far as connecting and making music with, like, I think it'd be cool to make music with Cool Nuts.
Oh, yeah.
Just because I kind of have an older school sound to me, and I feel like we would make a great track and our sounds would mesh. He was actually a judge at one of my competitions at my open mic just a couple weeks ago. But yeah, that's one of them, one of the many. But I've definitely tapped in with most of the local artists that are either established or up and coming out here so far.
Oh, yeah. All right. And then for this next one, literally a sky's the limits. But if you could perform anywhere in the world, and you wouldn't have to worry about crowd access, building stability, power, all guaranteed to work, guaranteed best show, guaranteed best lineup, and it doesn't have to be a venue. It could be anywhere. Where would you want to perform?
The moon.
You had to defunk the moon because sound doesn't travel in space. But let's keep it to Earth.
Only just because I thought I'd be the first one to do it. That's why I said it.
Fair.
But I'd say it'd have to be a destination where I'd want to vacation to. So, like I think it'd be cool to do it somewhere like at a dope setting on a beach, like in the Bahamas or something.
Hell yeah.
I think would be pretty dope. Somewhere kind of remote. I think that'd be dope.
Oh yeah. I think I've said this on an episode before, but if I haven't, I would love to do an interview at like the Sydney Opera House.
Okay.
Like somewhere in like Australia or even like New Zealand, I think would be pretty rad.
Yeah.
Just because there are a bunch of settings like that as well, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. And then to round out the hypothetical questions, if you could get one more album from anybody, and they could have just put out one yesterday, they could have not put out one in 100 years, like anybody, who would you want another album from?
Alive?
They could be alive or dead.
Nate Dogg?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Would you want an album from him now or from him back then?
I mean, now.
Or more, I mean, like, would you want it to have been like made at the time or like made now? Like for me, like one of the answers I gave a little while back was I would love an album from Biggie, but like Biggie in 2008. Like that would have been a vibe.
I mean, I think Nate Dogg had that sound that not only is so timeless,
Mhm.
like I think the style was timeless. Like I don't think it would have been a whole lot different him. It
Okay.
might have been just different, beats and production. But honestly, another album, at least with him on the hooks, from then would be dope.
Hell yeah.
Maybe early 2000s even, but he was still doing stuff then, kind of here and there, for sure. Him and probably like Andre, 3 Stacks.
Mm-hmm.
So I know he just came out with that flute stuff, but I mean another Andre from back then.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I love that. All right, we're going to go ahead and start wrapping this up. Why don't you tell us what we can look forward to in the first quarter of 2024?
So I got a lot of music on the way,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of shows on the way. So my goal is to put out a song every other month
Okay.
of all next year. Now there's going to be a couple EPs and stuff like that. The original goal was every month, but I'm respectively just do every other month. And if y'all get a song every month, then you get one. But I got that much music ready to go. A lot of it scheduled already.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to start a podcast back up at the Big Bet Creative House.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be throwing more showcases. So like I said, the Night Shift is kind of a spinoff of the Day Shift. The Day Shift is my open mic. The Night Shift is a showcase curated primarily from the open mic and people who prove themselves. They getting in there doing their layup lines, getting in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things like that. I would say, just a lot of music, a lot of visuals. So I got like 11 or 12 music videos out now on YouTube, on the Big Bet Studios YouTube page. And we got a lot of those coming. Like I said, I just got my camera going, and I got some people editing for me now. So definitely more visuals, more music, more shows. And y'all gonna see me just about everywhere on every screen.
Oh, yeah. Well, then for this next one, why don't you go ahead and look at the camera and tell everybody how they can find you?
You can find me on all social medias. It's Bobby_Barrz. That's 2 R's, 1 Z. And on all DSPs, it's Bobby Barrz, 2 R's, 1 Z. Don't get it twisted.
Hell yeah. And then any other plugs, any other shout outs, anybody else you want to put on while you're on here?
Mama, shout out my mom, my parents. They definitely support me in all this. Shout out my wife. She's a real good support system for me as well. Everyone who comes through the Day Shift. Shout out all my fans, all the people who stream my music and purchase my music. Anyone who got them a What You Not Gonna Do t-shirt. Shout out my producer and business partner, JC Banco. And everyone out there, shout out you if you're working hard and you betting big on yourself.
Oh, yeah. All right, now we've got one last question to go, but before we do, I'm going to steal the camera for just a second.
Yeah.
As always, y'all, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And one more shout out to the Brothers Apothecary. Make sure to click the link below. Go get you some. And with that being said, the final question. And this one's entirely up to your interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
But what's an album you feel is a little more on the obscure side, or maybe not everybody knows, but you think everybody should know?
Man, so I went through a fitness phase where I was, it was a 4-year journey. I was actually, training for like a bodybuilding competition and stuff. And I can think of an album that I played over and over and over that actually is obscure because it's a mixtape, and it's Luca Brasi 2 by Kevin Gates.
Oh, shit.
Which arguably was one of the best albums of that year that wasn't even an album.
Hell yeah.
So they got like Plug's Daughter on there. They got a lot of just motivational stuff, and y'all know Kevin Gates go crazy. And that was definitely the first album body of work that made me a fan of his for sure.
Hell yeah. Love that. Well, thank you so much for sharing that.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get up on out of here. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man.
Oh, yeah. This has been another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. I'm Jimmy.
I'm Bobby.
And we're signing off. Later, y'all.
That's a wrap.
This is not a podcast. This is a show.
Keep jamming.